Welcome to this live session. My name is Anindita and I am a functional medicine certified health coach and practitioner. And today I'm going to share with you why healing is more of an art and not an exact science, and why it really matters, right? Because you will learn at the end of this session that you have much more control over your health than you could have possibly imagined. So let's get going. Usually, when we are diagnosed with any kind of health issues, we believe that there is only one way to get better, right? And that one way of getting better resides outside of ourselves. That means we look up to others to tell us what we need to do, what steps we need to take, what medications, what treatments, what are the things that we need to look out for. So everything is outside of ourselves, and we believe that this is the only way that we can get better. We believe that we don't really know, we are not trained, we are not experts. We don't really know better, right? And this is where we get stuck, and this is where a lot of us remain stuck even while becoming sicker and sicker. But the thing is, the very fact that you and I are here today is proof of the fact that our species has survived over millions of years of evolution, right? In those, it's not decades or centuries, but millions of years, where our species has actually dealt with diseases, famines, droughts, and many other things which could have affected the health of our ancestors. And we are here today. You're watching this live session. That itself tells us that our bodies have evolved to adapt to changing circumstances. Our bodies have evolved to deal with certain circumstances and make sure that we still procreate, have kids, and ensure the survival of our species, right? So it's not entirely true. It's not true that we don't know and our bodies don't know what needs to be done. There are other reasons why many of us are dealing with a multitude of chronic diseases. That's not the topic for today's session, but I would just like to point out that it's not because your body doesn't know what needs to be done. Your body has an innate ability to heal. It just needs your support and guidance, right? It needs your support. It needs you to treat it as an ally and not as an enemy, because that's sometimes what we end up doing. So several years ago, in about 2016, I went through a minor health crisis myself. Our family had been through some tough times the years before that, since 2012-13 onwards. And I realized that my metabolism had really become, it had slowed down. I had put on a bit of weight. My energy levels had come off. And I'm a pretty energetic person. I love doing new things, but I could sense that there was something wrong. And more importantly, I had the worst case of dry and itchy skin that I've ever had in my life. I've always had smooth skin. I have been blessed with smooth skin, but my arms and my legs were itchy and dry, and it was really, it was terrible. And of course, as a health coach, I am trained to look out for what's going on. In functional medicine, we believe in looking for and addressing the root causes. So I was lucky in that sense and fortunate. So I started looking inside rather than trying to get a diagnosis, because it was not a disease yet. However, if it had carried on, I am convinced that I would have actually received a diagnosis at some point in time, and I would have had to maybe going for some treatment and medication. But because I got it much earlier and I started addressing it, and I was lucky again that I was not working full time yet as a health coach, so then I had some more time on my hands, so I started taking afternoon naps. I made rest my priority. I made sleep a priority. I actually cut down on all my social commitments, and I started focusing on the healing and moving my body from a chronic survival mode to a rest and repair mode. And it was a mix of all this, and of course my diet, so as much as anti-inflammatory foods, going off alcohol completely. So, and in a few months time I could see the changes start taking place, improvements start happening, and eventually in about 6 months time my skin condition resolved by itself without the use of any medications. I did use essential oils. I do use essential oils too for some of these things, but at the end of the day, within about 6 months time, I could make out that my energy levels were sort of back to normal, my health was back to normal by and large, and I nearly did not need to do anything else after that. I'm just sharing this story with you because the very fact that I did not wait for any diagnosis or treatments, or more importantly my disease to become more entrenched and become worse before I started making certain changes, right? And this is something that you can do too. And if you already have an existing disease, if you're already dealing with a chronic disease, even then there are so many things, and I'm going to share a few today in a bit, that you can actually those make those changes in your life. And it starts with the way you think. So you can make those changes and you can actually do that, because you see, it's not about getting a medical treatment, right? It's not about either going in for a medical treatment or taking medications or going in for a surgery or creating a healthy environment. That's actually what I did for my own healing. I actually created an environment where my body itself sort of was brought back into balance, right? It could come back into balance. But it's not an either or situation, because sometimes, in spite of our best efforts and maybe many other different reasons, we need to go in for medications, we need to get a diagnosis, we need to meet a doctor, we need to have a surgery, and that's absolutely okay. But the thing is that many times we get an opportunity to prevent this from reaching that final stage where we need to do that. But if we need to, it can work beautifully if you can combine what I am sharing today with whatever treatment that you're getting. So it's never an either or situation. You need to understand how your body is responding or not responding, and then make a decision accordingly. So it's about becoming more aware as to the options that you have, and not believing that all of these choices, all these decisions are based on things which are beyond yourself, right? Because again, the problem is that if you believe that you have to wait for all the answers and everything else to come into place, you might be waiting for a very long time, which is the reason I say that healing is not an exact science but more of an art, because your gut instinct, your intuition, your body's wisdom, all of that has to be taken into account, maybe along with the medications and treatments that you're currently on, right? So that's the reason I mentioned that it's more of an art rather than just an exact science, because sometimes we don't really get the answers. We don't get the answers for a very long time. In the case of chronic conditions like autoimmune disease, which is what I, in my practice, I work mainly with women with autoimmune conditions. What happens is that because the immune system is quite complex and multifactorial, and there's a lot of overlap in the symptoms, there are more than 100 autoimmune diseases currently. Getting a diagnosis can take a long time. I mean, in some people, I know that they have taken decades to get a diagnosis, and all that while their symptoms have become worse, their disease has kept on progressing, their life has come to a standstill. It's really, really sad, right? And imagine the suffering and that the person goes through, the poor quality of life, because your life comes to a complete standstill. Like, you're not able to do your even your daily chores, right? Because fatigue is a very, very common hallmark of, for example, autoimmune and other chronic conditions. And what happens as a result of that, and pain is the other one actually, and what happens as a result of that is a lot of the daily chores, people are not able to do, things that we don't even think about because of their constant pain or their lack of energy. And it's a real lack of energy. It's like fatigue and apathy and lethargy, etc. And that's so sad, because it's not that the person is suffering, but the entire family, their children, and especially if it's a woman. That's something that I can obviously something that I could understand, because if the woman is the mother, she's a caregiver, she's a daughter, she's a daughter-in-law, she's the wife, she's sort of the center of the family, and if she's the one who's in constant pain, she's the one who's fatigued, and she's not able to do her daily chores or play with her kids. Imagine what she's going through, and also what her children and her family are going through, right? So it has a huge repercussion much beyond that person who has a particular diagnosis. And again, just I want you to start thinking about your health differently, especially about your healing journey differently, right? Understand that it's not about having all the answers. Understand it's not about waiting for somebody to tell you exactly what are the steps that need to be done. Sometimes it's about feeling your way through, using your body as a guide, right? Your body is the best guide and friend that you can possibly have. The innate wisdom that it holds over millions of years of evolution is something that most of us don't realize or appreciate. And if you can learn how to tap into that, you will get a lot of sort of guidance. You will have a sense of direction, and you will know when you need to tweak that, right? Of course, it helps to get some kind of support while you're doing that, but if you have to start and take baby steps, you can do that today. So from here on, I want you to start thinking about your health differently, in a different way. More importantly, I want you to start treating your body as your friend, as your ally, as your partner, and your guide in your own healing journey, right? It will really help you to know whether you're on the right track, whether you're going in the right direction, and give you the results that you could have never imagined. This forms the cornerstone of my own coaching program, and this is something that I teach my clients right from day one. And this is where, so I don't want to leave you hanging here. I want to share with you a few things that you can think about and sort of incorporate right today. So here they are. I want you to start right here. The first thing I want you to do is learn how your body creates optimal health. Understand more about how your body works and what it means to be in optimal health, right? Since you're watching this live on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe if you're watching this as a recorded event, it doesn't matter. That means you have access to the internet, you have access to books and resources. And I'm going to share a few books below, which will help you to do that. Because once you are able to appreciate how your body works, even as a lay person, right, you don't need to get into all the nitty-gritties. You can understand, you will reach a stage where you will finally be able to take preventive measures before a disease gets entrenched. And even if you have an existing disease, you will understand the importance of laying the foundations of good health, right? This is again something that I teach all my clients in my coaching program, because this is key to getting better. So I'm going to share with you a few books that you can start going through. For example, on gut health, the connection between gut health and chronic disease, and many diseases, the connection between gut health and autoimmunity. So I'm going to share a few books below to help you get started, right? So what it means to be in optimal health. So I'm going to help you with that. The second thing is, the foundations of good health does not require you to wait for somebody's permission. This is something that I learned the hard way when my daughter was going through a health crisis. For many years, I was waiting for doctors to tell me what to do, what medications to give her, what treatments that she should be going through, and we did all of that. And in spite of all of that, we had a huge, terrible situation in our hands. And I've talked about it earlier, so I'm not going to get into the details today. But I realized one thing that I learned is I did not have to actually wait for anyone to give me permission to start creating the foundations of good health for her, right? I wish I had realized it earlier, but this was a huge learning for me. So for example, my clients, they understand the importance of eating hygiene, mindful eating, sleeping hygiene, bedtime routine, having a good bedtime routine. These are very, very foundational aspects. But without this foundation, if you're creating health, the building will be very shaky. So these are very key aspects, and they don't need any kind of diagnosis or more lab reports or more answers or more clarity. You don't need all of that. This is like the bare minimum foundation that you need to have, so that when you actually start building the different layers of health, it does not all come toppling down, right? So it doesn't, and the good news is that you don't have to wait for anybody's permission to do all of this. So knowing how to eat is as important as what you are eating, but we are so focused on diet, we actually don't realize that. Managing our stress, sleep is of paramount importance. Again, that sort of gets sidelined. So all of these are something that are in the foundational aspects of my coaching program, and I take my clients through all of these in the first few sessions itself. And finally, understand how you can create an environment in which your body feels safe and protected, so that you can start focusing on healing and repair. Right? This is the key to getting better. This is the key to supporting your body's healing process. So and I call it the healing environment, because this is the environment in which your immune system can come back into balance. This is the environment where your cells, at a tissue, organ and cell level, repair work can start, wherein your energy levels can start improving, everything can start falling into place. Right? So we don't go by symptom by symptom, but more about the foundations and giving the body what it needs in terms of nutrients, support, sleep, rest, everything. Moving your body from a fight or flight mode to a rest and repair mode, right? So this is what a healing environment is supposed to give. So if you can sort of start working on some of these aspects of your health, of your healing journey, you will start seeing the difference. You will start seeing the difference. Even if you've had a very entrenched disease, maybe not on day one, it takes time, but you will start seeing some difference, some improvement, and you will know you're on the right track. And as I mentioned, the beauty is if you can treat your body as your guide, and I use this body guided approach in my own coaching program, you will find that you will get a lot of the answers that you are looking for outside of yourself. You will know whether you're on the right track, what things you need to change, and what else could you possibly ask for. So this forms there are three different pillars in my coaching program. One is interconnectedness, one is body acceptance, one is self-care, and they all overlap with each other, and these are some of the areas that I just talked about today. So body acceptance means moving beyond symptom management. It means providing nourishment in terms of food and in other ways also, and making your body your friend, right? These are the three main areas that I focus on. I have opened up a few more slots because I am opening my coaching program, Healing from Within, enrollment end of this month or maybe early October actually. But before that, if you would like to know more about this program and the three pillars and how it works and how I can help you, use the link in the bio for Instagram and below for Facebook, and and schedule the discovery call. It's a 30 minutes free call, and you will get an overview of how this program works and how you can benefit from it.